Luigi's Beta Mansion by Educated Gentleman, a Creepypasta story. I used to be a game tester for Nintendo, who in turn for me testing and reviewing their games would give me a small amount of money. It was hard enough to live off, but coming with the income of my part-time job, it wasn't that bad. All the games they sent me were still in the beta stage. If some were glitchy, they were all fun to play. But when Nintendo sent me a package that contained a GameCube, it both shocked and excited me. Take note, this was in the middle of February 2001, about 7 months prior to its official release. I had tested Star Fox 64 and Pokemon Red and Blue well before they were released in the US and the United States, but never a prototype of a console. I was amazed, to say the least. I felt honored that I would be one of the first people to see the GameCube's startup's animation and graphics. I was one of the first to hold and use this new state-of-the-art controller. I eventually hooked up the GameCube to my television, a task that was made much harder by my hands shaking out of excitement. But before I turned it on, I realized that I had left the controller in the box. I reached back into the package, feeling for a controller of some sort, and my hand felt something flat and rectangular. I grabbed it and pulled my hand back out. It was a game. This really surprised me. A game for a console that wasn't even finished. I thought it must still have a lot of development to go through before it's anywhere close to being complete. The game in this case was titled Luigi's Mansion, and Beta was written under it in what looked like marker. The disc was pure white. Surely Nintendo hasn't had time to add cover art at this point in development. Like I barely contained my anticipation. I grabbed the controller out of the box I had been looking for earlier, popped the disc into the GameCube, and pressed the power button. Because it didn't have a loading screen or animation like I was expecting, instead went straight to the play game option. I selected that. The game started up. I could hardly wait. I assumed the game would feature Luigi as the main character, which I was also eager to experiment before, because he was timid and easily frightened. I wanted to see how Nintendo decided to treat the lesser brother in a game of his own. A cutscene play showing Luigi walking down a dark path. I quickly noticed that the graphics of the game were dull and sad. Luigi didn't stop and look down at the map, which shows a large, bright, and happy-looking mansion. He moves down the path and finally reaches the mansion, which looks nothing like the one on the map. It looks very dark and intimidating, which caught me off guard. A bad feeling began to form in my stomach. What I was playing didn't really feel like a Nintendo game. Luigi walks up to the front door and knocks with a shivering hot hand. The door creaks open and he slowly walks inside. The game then switches to third person, and I now can control Luigi. I have to say, the game main theme was very unnerving as well. This was off to a weird stuff, but the dark ambience intrigued me. The word entrance appeared on the top left corner of the screen. I walk up some stairs and enter a door. Upon doing this, a cutscene plays showing portraits in the dark room starts to awake. A text box pop up that simply said, "We have your brother." Ghosts then circle around Luigi, who scream and collapse, shivering on the ground. The screen black out. Luigi wakes up in a completely different room. There was a table behind him. I could control Luigi once more, and I walked over to the table and interacted with it. Luigi then picked up a flashlight off of the table, and the text box appeared that said, "A team flashlight." I then walked out of the room and was in a large hallway with lots of doors. Apart from the initial shock of playing the horror-themed Mario game, it played well. The objective was to shine your flashlight on ghosts, which caused a counter to go down. Once it reached 0, the ghost would disappear. Clearing a room full of ghosts would give Luigi treasure and keys to other rooms. Some ghosts were harder to defeat than others, making you figure out a specific weakness for each. A father in a rocking chair could only be shined on when he yawned. A chef in the kitchen would only appear if he ate his food. It was fun. However, I still was a little unnerved at the fact that there was absolutely nothing cheerful or happy about this game. The theme only played in certain areas, and that was already creepy enough, but some rooms were completely silent apart from a occasional crash of lightning. The ghosts also began to progressively look less and less cartoonish as the game progressed, but I chalked this up to lack of development. Even Luigi looked a little off. His face was twisted into a permanent look of terror and hopelessness. His only speech, if you even want to call it that, was screams and cries for help whenever ghosts appeared. This was beginning to concern me. I wasn't having fun anymore, but I played on. Everything about the game so far was relatively manageable in terms of not being too horrifying. Unfortunately, it was just about to change. I reached a room called the Safari Room. In the room, there were mountain deer heads and two tables with leopard skins on them. I was shocked to see a human skeleton slumped in a chair in the corner of the room. It was dressed as a Australian hunter, and there were empty bottles on the floor around him. Around him. But what I noticed next chilled me to the bone. He had a small pistol in his skeletal hand and a hole in the side of his head. I had to stop for a minute. How could they possibly put something like this in the game targeted at children? I felt sick, and I didn't want to look at this suicide reference anymore. I tried to exit the room, and this triggered a text box to appear in which said, "I'm going to kill you and mount you on my wall." The skeleton then rose up and pointed his pistol at Luigi. He fired. The screen went black. Luigi let out a blood-curdling scream. Luigi was then transported to a room called the telephone room. He looked very pale, and his eyes were droopy, and his pupils were gone. He was walking slowly, and with what seemed like took a lot of effort. He was in pain. Suddenly, the telephone in the center of the room started to ring. Luigi painstakingly walked over to answer it. As soon as Luigi put the phone to his ear, only flash and the light that shone through the window showed Luigi's shadow hanging from it in the back of the room. The person on the other end of the line then said, "Mario's dead." Luigi screamed and dropped the phone and his flashlight, which broke on the floor. The room was now pitch black. I listened to Luigi sobbing in the darkness for about 2 minutes. The sobbing then turned to screaming. Then a horrifying, loud snapping sound played through the speakers, followed by a soft choking sound. Then everyone was silent. Lightning flashed and Luigi was hanging from a noose. A message came out on the screen that said, "Good night," in red letters. The screen went black and the GameCube turned off. And I now sat in my own pitch-black room, shaking. This time, out of fear, I felt something warm drip on my hand. I realized that I had bitten my lip pretty hard, and the blood was dripping down my chin. The next morning, I shipped the GameCube and the game back to Nintendo. A week later, I got a letter from Nintendo apologizing for accidentally sending me a beta version of Luigi's Mansion. Now for the extra text that the narrator puts. Well, it has been 4 years since I wrote this as a young teenager. Nostalgia brought me back. Had to make some edits. I'm sorry I even remember by logging information. I was going to change the story around a good bit more, but out of respect for my younger self, I just changed it a small amount. Cheers, everyone. The educated gentleman. No, this is just wasn't part of the story. It's more just just a little message from the narrator who made this story. Sorry, wasn't part of the story. So now let's moving on. Hey guys, Mr. Fetty here. So that was Luigi's Beta Mansion, a creepypasta by hang on, The Educated Gentleman. So final thoughts. It's actually a pretty good story, but there's also some flaws, like, are you sure that you need to catch ghosts with the Poltergeist 3000? Yeah, Poltergeist 3000. Instead of just like he's trying to stun them and just wait for the counter to go down. Like, are you sure this is like more of a didn't happen in the actual game? You just need to use like a Poltergeist 3000 to capture the ghosts and such. And as opposed to Safari Room ghost, it's actually a skeleton, which I think is like that's pretty much creepy, Like, as a skeleton instead of just like an actual ghost. I can imagine that, and then like in the actual game, that's just like a Safari ghost. Sorry, the Safari Room portrait ghost is actually a ghost skeleton, with a safari hat and a gun and pistol and such. And in that part of the narrator pretty much accidentally bit his chin, bit his lip, which actually which blood was dripping down his chin. I think that's kind of pretty disturbing, though. Like, damn, and maybe you just got scared over the beta version of the pretty much a cult following GameCube game. Like, wow. And just ignore that random noise in that box on somewhere in the drawer. I don't know where is that. And yeah, that was Luigi's Beta Mansion. Pretty good story, but there's also some flaws, you know. And also, there's no mentions of EGAG, King Boo, or Bowser in the story, since I think that's kind of interesting since this is like in beta form. But the EGAG, where the heck is he? Like, where the heck is my boy EGAG? Like in the story, like maybe it wasn't added in because maybe this is a beta version, you know. Like I think EGAG wasn't like created until like midway half from the game's production. So yeah, hope you guys have a pretty good day and bye bye.